because of the position these guys are in, they are prone to a little bit more scrutiny. Nick Pope might be considered to have made an error this weekend, conceding the goal against Aubameyang. You're going to have a closer look at it for us.
Yeah, it's one that Nick Pope, he's going to be disappointed to have let it in, and that's not to say you're disappointed with every goal, but first off, you debunk the myth of being beaten at your near post. So when we stop it on the strike here, just to point out that the goal that is as it is there that you see no longer exists, and it is what Nick Pope and Aubameyang have created, is this goal that he is trying to cut off between these two arrows. So it's a much smaller goal, but he's actually within the centre of a smaller goal. It's still a large amount of area to cover. So it's a tough one for him to...
So he's in the right position?
So he's in the right position, technically. Tarkowski, for starters, always a goalkeeper, blame everyone else, is in the wrong position. You know what Aubameyang's going to do. He's going to come inside, and he doesn't. And it's from a very, very close. It's 12 yards out. It's a strike that Aubameyang hits quite well. What's interesting is Nick Pope is brilliant at getting in the set position, which is being balanced, which is being ready for a strike, which is where his feet are on the floor. On this moment here, this instance, if we watch his right foot on the strike of Aubameyang and highlight it, it comes up in the air and it actually never makes contact with the ground again until the ball's gone in the goal. Now, what that does is that creates all the pressure and all the stability going through his left side. Now, he's trying to sweep his leg to save time, but because it never touches the ground, there's no force to go to his right, which is the side he wants. And you can see it drag almost along the floor. But as that is, all his pressure, all his force is coming from his left-hand side, which is, as you'd imagine, the wrong side. If you want to dive to your right, you want all the power to come from your nearer leg.
So that's his technique. So what's wrong with it?
It's a good technique when the shot is closer to you. And it's a good technique to use, and it's a well-used technique by goalkeepers across the world to cut your leg when it's in and around you. He's got fantastic reach. He's got that. The problem with this is it's just that fraction too far for him. You can see him diving backwards, trying to gain that bit of time that he's losing by that leg coming across him. He's trying to gain that time back. That's where he falls short. That's where it just creeps in.
So that's basically a mistake, isn't it? You're talking about sweeping the leg. That's his technique, but that is a mistake there because basically he's not strong enough and doesn't get the power through his legs to give him the strength to get across and save it. It's
the tiniest of tiniest details that you're saying that a shot, which we may see in a moment's time, which is a fraction closer, it creates the speed allowed to get down for that save.
Well, it's funny you say that. We've got something here.
But it's something that, yeah, you look at here and it's almost an identical strike or a mirror image strike from the other side. And you see the sweep of the leg and you see him what he's obviously trying to search for the ball. But on his left-hand side, you see that sweep. That shot is a fraction closer to him.
So we'll see it
allows him to get down.
Yeah, we see it better behind the goal now, what you're talking about with this leg movement. So, go on, you explain that.
So, when a strike is in the box, you've got fractions of a second to respond to, and you're buying yourself time from everywhere. And you see his left leg just sweep up underneath his body. And that is allowing his body to drop down onto the floor as quickly as possible, which enables him to get down. Now, Nick Pope is a big guy. He's got a huge frame. He's got fantastic reach. And that's where he's using that part of his technique.
So what's his big strength? People talk about shot stopping. What is it that stands out for you?
His body shape, he's simplified his movement. Here, you can see just the minimal movement. There's not extravagant movements within the body. He keeps it simple. His feet are shoulder width apart the majority of the time. He takes small steps. His hands are down in a neutral position in front of his hips. And that allows him to back himself to make the save whenever he can.
So, just want to highlight him now. So this is what you're talking about. A big thing in terms of his feet movements are almost the most important thing, really, in this you're talking.
Yep, and he's trusted himself to make the save. He trusted himself to react, and he's not gambling. And so where he is, he's set, he's ready, he's balanced to go in any direction. And what he has got is that fantastic reach, is that fantastic ability to get into the corners.
So when you say, sorry, Robert, when you're talking about the actual small steps, that gives him the opportunity to push off, basically, because his feet are never off the ground for too long.
He's never off the ground. He's always in contact with the floor. But also, it enables you, and we're talking about that small detail of that leg sweep. In the further instances, it enables you to get that power in the right direction of where he's going to go. If you look there, his foot just manages to touch the floor, which enables him to steady himself before the dive, before going. So that's you're talking a stud, a little bit of stability in that touch in the ground. Here, again, he moves a long way, but he's always on that contact. He's ready for the strike. He's making himself set. His both feet are on the floor, ready for the strike from Chowdhury. That is basically the premise of goalkeeping. That's where he does so well. And if there is that momentary stop, I'm ready, I'm set to make the save, and I can react.
So